which says Nigeria spent 2.34 trillion naira on debt service within 6 months of 2023. Nigeria's debt servicing spending in the second quarter of 2023 saw a slowdown, amounting to 849.58 billion naira. The figure marked a 43.04% decline from 1.49 trillion naira spent on debt servicing in the first quarter of 2023. It will be recalled that Nigeria allocated 874.13 billion naira for servicing domestic debt and $801.3 million as equivalent to about 617.35 billion naira for external debt servicing, totaling 1.24 trillion naira in Q1 of 2023. The exchange rate of the DMO, which was $1 to 770 naira 38 kobo, was used for external debt servicing. The Deputy Secretary of the United States Department of Treasury, Mr. Wale Adeyemo, says America is willing to expand windows of economic cooperation with Nigeria. He made this known while addressing a large audience in Lagos. Effiong Ekop reports.
The flow of American investments into Nigeria will increase in the coming years in response to economic and political reforms of the Nigerian government. The Deputy Secretary, U.S. Department of Treasury, Mr. Wale Adeyemo, disclosed this at a meeting with public and private sector operators. Mr. Adeyemo, who is on a state visit to Nigeria, was at the Lagos Business School where he told a large crowd that the Biden administration is prepared to assist Nigeria in tilting up economic development.
Our government stands ready to help work with them to take these steps as quickly as possible. Overall, President Biden and the Biden administration believe deeply in the importance of deepening the relationship with Nigeria because we know that ultimately it is in America's interest as much as it is in Nigeria's interest. And we know that the reality is that these reforms cannot come fast enough for the Nigerian people.
He maintained that Nigeria has enormous human and material resources to lead in African development initiatives. He cautioned that capital flow from the U.S. could be held back if corruption is not fought from all fronts, noting that small-scale businesses could suffer due to lack of capital support.
It is important to note the need for economic reforms does not demand indifference to the pain caused by this transition to ordinary Nigerians. This is why partners like the World Bank and African Development Bank are committed to working with your government to provide resources and advice to help smooth this transition for the Nigerian people. The third factor for growth is rooting out corruption and the perception of corruption in the business environment.
Earlier, the Vice Chancellor of the Lagos Business School, Enase Okenedo, urged the U.S. Deputy Secretary of Treasury to ensure that U.S. businesses partner with local entrepreneurs.
Lagos Business School all through the years has leveraged this convening power to bring together various key stakeholders with a view to discussing how we can change policy and how we can influence business and management practices in our economic environment.
Many people welcome the idea of increasing investments in Nigeria by American businessmen. Effiong Ekop, TVC News, Lagos.
Meanwhile, the ECOWAS Trade Obstacles Alert Mechanism has been identified as an important tool for eliminating non-tariff barriers across the region. For this purpose, border security agencies, traders, and other stakeholders from the West African sub-region converged at the Nigerian Shippers Council headquarters in Lagos to talk about the seamless regional trade integration. Funaya Eze reports.
The goal of this sensitization workshop is for participants to identify practical solutions for reducing the prevalence of trade barriers along West African borders. Speakers acknowledge that this has become urgent in light of the region's aspirations for economic growth and regional integration.
The relevance of our gathering today cannot be overstated. Numerous studies conducted along the borders of West African nations have consistently highlighted the impediments faced by traders, particularly in border crossings and customs clearance processes. These barriers comprising lengthy clearance times, transit checkpoints with unwarranted delays, harassment, exorbitant illegal fees and demands for bribes have far-reaching consequences. They do not only disrupt the seamless flow of goods, but also pose a direct threat to our regional integration endeavors.
The ECOWAS Trade Alert TWAM can be a tool that, all the shippers must use in order to, to report the challenges that they are facing, but also knowing that we have our counterparts.
As participants recognize that simply identifying challenges is no longer sufficient to facilitate regional trade, they emphasize the importance of enabling an environment that is seamless and competitive.
A huge percentage of what makes our products incompetitive is cost. And what drives cost? Poor logistics. Some are unrelated costs, arbitrariness in the hands of government agencies and service providers, but it's cost. So if we can carefully and consistently sustain this narrative, drive down costs, take deliberate actions. Like I said, you need to be deliberate. Take deliberate actions that will bring down the cost. It fits into our competitiveness in the region.
Their assertion is that the full operational status of the Trade Obstacles Alert mechanism in all 15 ECOWAS member states underlines the potential for it to bring transformative change and enhance regional trade. Ifunanya Eze, TVC News, Lagos.
Well, trading at the NGX floor started the week positively with the all-share index recording a gain of 0.71%. The top gainers were Charms PLC, Northern Nigeria Flour Mills PLC, Oando PLC, Stanbic IBTC Holdings, Lasako Assurance, and Omatech Ventures PLC topped the losers list, followed by Skyway Aviation, Better Glass Company, Red Star Express PLC, and Code Bio. The Bank of England is likely to hike interest rates once again this week, possibly its last decision for one of the great tightening cycles of the last 100 years as a cooling economy begins to worry policymakers. This is in spite of the 14 rate hikes it has already made, yet to fully feed through into the real economy. About 65 economists polled by Reuters in recent days predicted that the Bank of England will raise interest rates to 5.5% on Thursday from 5.25%, which would mark its highest level since 2007. Financial markets are less certain than economists, with rate features on Friday showing a 25% chance of a pause, but both are coming to the view that the streak of rises in borrowing costs since December 2021 is in its last days.